Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at a brand new Tier 8 battleship, the Bismarck 41. And what they've given us here is manual secondaries on a battleship for the first time. We've seen this with the new German battle cruiser line, and it was pretty fun over there. However, bringing that to a battleship is an entirely different story. Way tankier ship. And these manual secondaries also come with improved reload. They're giving you a 40% reload buff when you're in your manual secondaries. Though they have nerfed the base secondaries from Bismarck in the standard mode. The actual DPM on them is quite a bit worse. We only have 21,000 hitting DPM at 10 kilometers. But plus 40% on that is pretty good. Regular Bismarck around 28,000 hitting DPM. These secondaries are the same 105s and 150 mil secondaries, so we can pen 32 millimeters if we take IFHE, which I will be doing here. We also get ourselves a very powerful engine boost. Feels a bit like they took the Scharnhorst 43 concept, because this is a 15% engine boost that lasts for 180 seconds base and has a 90-second cooldown. We now have ourselves a very agile, maneuverable Bismarck, and one that has manual secondary control. You're also maybe looking at the minimap and noticing that's a lot of secondary range. Indeed, 13.5 kilometers of range is our secondary range at tier 8. This is not a tier higher. This is not a tier 9 ship. This is tier 8, same tier as Bismarck. The guns are mostly the same with a longer reload. You would think that would be fair enough. Longer reload on the main guns in exchange for these incredible secondaries. But that's not it. That's not all. We have a 33-second reload, but we get 2.0 Sigma now. So it's a more accurate form of the Bismarck main guns, which allowed me to get some decent salvos in the few games that I was able to play in this ship already. Otherwise, those guns are going to be the same. Same pen, same damage, all of that. I wouldn't shoot HE out of them, to be honest with you, but they do have quarter pen HE, which can be nice. Notably, not using manual secondaries allows for us to get our secondaries firing off of both sides. This is an element that carries over from the Prinz Adalbert line. Although, given the massive boost to our secondary DPM when we're in manual secondaries, I would suggest this is probably not worth it. I have no confirmation of this, by the way, but I suspect there is also an accuracy buff. Perhaps that's just down to the secondary range increasing, but I do feel like the accuracy on these secondaries is quite a bit better. I'll show you at the end of the video a test I did between Bismarck 41, regular Bismarck, Prinz Adalbert, and then I threw in a mines just for a comparison to a cruiser, how quickly I could take down a Republic at 12 kilometers. And, well, the ship is quite favorable compared to even the Prinz Adalbert, which is a tier 10, by the way. This is tier 8, remember. Anyways, more of that later. For now, though, this heal is a standard heal, 14% HP back, and you have a standard 80-second reloads. This is the normal heal that we're used to. No fast cooldown heal, no super heal, anything like that. We are entirely reliant on our armor, which is usually pretty good, but German superstructure. However, we're pretty agile with this engine boost up. We can take things like rudder mod instead of prop mod if we want to be more maneuverable, thanks to 15% engine boost, effectively giving us prop mod when we need it. Then a faster rudder allows for us to be quite agile and maybe avoid some of that incoming damage to our superstructure. I do think this is a tankier battleship overall than regular Bismarck, just purely off of that maneuverability alone. The damage control is standard, as is the spotting aircraft here too. So, how do you get this ship? Fortunately, there is going to be an Admiral bundle. You know, it's not amazing when we're starting with a good news as being that you can buy it outright in an inflated bundle, but that is the good news here. This is not just a gamble-only ship, which we have seen as of late out of Wargaming. You will be able to spend $120 US to get this ship outright. It is also going to be in a Wishing Wharf event, alongside a few other ships like Prince of Wales, which we'll take a look at soon enough. But I would never recommend you guys gamble for these ships when you can buy them outright. I'm always advocating for the ability to buy these ships outright, Very disappointing when Wargaming doesn't. However, here there is an option to do so, so I'm glad to see that. Though 120 bucks for a tier 8 is very, very steep. I would love to see that price cut in half. I think 60 bucks for a tier 8 premium sounds about right. That's the price of, well, not anymore, but used to be the price of a AAA game. A lot of AA games are better than AAA these days and around that price anyway. So unfortunate on the Admiral bundle, but at least you do get an option to buy it outright. That's enough though for the monetization of this event. I do need to talk more about this ship and its capabilities. Secondaries are targeting the center mass water line. So at close range, the secondaries you can aim yourself get so much better. Notice here how I am actually able to aim up into his superstructure, though that superstructure is getting saturated. We can tell because it's getting darker. So why don't I aim for the bow? That's not saturated yet, and we pen it everywhere. The ability to aim your guns makes the secondaries so much more powerful. Even compared to ships that would, in theory, have higher DPM, they aren't able to target the weak points on the enemy ship, and therefore are doing less effective damage. So Bismarck 41 here, I would say, is up there for the best secondary battleship in the game, at least at tier 8. Even against tier 9s, I would say I would take this over a lot of the tier 9 battleships that are focused around secondaries, just purely off the ability to aim them. 13.5 kilometers of range is more range than we're getting off of every single battleship in the game, outside of very special scenarios where combat instructions, F keys, are being used. And of course, the German battle cruiser line. But I do think we're tankier than that German battle cruiser line, so more able to survive at these closer ranges. We also have more favorable matchmaker. Consider that Libertad needs an F key to get outside this range. Hanover barely exceeds this range with its own F key, getting to 14.3, I believe. This is tier 8. That's not super ship tier. This is wild. I can't believe they gave you better secondaries than regular Bismarck with more range, with the ability to manually control them, and your only trade-offs are a hydro, but you get a 15% engine boost instead. For pushing, the hydro is very useful, admittedly, but so is the ability to just maneuver around torps so much quicker. That also applies to avoiding a lot of incoming fire from standard shells. And we get a slightly longer reload on these main guns, 33 seconds instead of 26. But we get 2.0 Sigma instead of 1.8. Doesn't feel like a lot of trade-offs for this absurd power level for these secondaries. Easy for me to talk about this ship and recommend it if you have the money, of course. It's very unique to play a battleship with these manual secondaries. I already felt that way when it came to the battle cruisers. They can be a bit squishy though, they can get overmatched a lot. This was a very tanky experience, allowing me to also use those secondaries. In this one, over 100,000 just raw from the secondaries. Not a ton of fires out of it. We are of course using IFHE here. You would expect on that many secondary hits though, maybe a few more. But overall, very impressive showing already out of these manual secondaries. Moving on to our next game here. What if instead of just a tier 9 up tier, we get ourselves a double carrier game at tier 8 this time? This is usually a very bad time for a brawling secondary battleship. Now, this Massachusetts does push in for us, but anytime you're trying to play up close on islands, well, you're a bit of a sitting duck for carriers, and if you try to just push in open water, maintain your maneuverability, you're still a sitting duck. It's very difficult to brawl secondary in these sorts of double carrier games, but you have 13.5 kilometers of range. That's so much. A lot of cruisers at your tier have around that range. Some of the light cruisers, I mean, have around that range. I played Boise recently for a ship request. It's like your main gun range on a tier 7 cruiser. Now, that one's got superheat. I know, there's reasons that one doesn't have as much range, but still, this is an insane amount of firepower to have just in your back pocket that has this much range and accuracy. Notably, this is the first time we're seeing the use of manual secondary skill combined with manual secondary. So this manual secondary skill is a commander skill that is going to buff your accuracy after 45 or 50 seconds. You will get a massive improvement to your secondary accuracy. It takes a while for that to charge up though, but now that we have it charged up, this is a replay bug by the way, I did have manual secondaries targeted on this Massachusetts. Not sure why it's not showing, but look at the accuracy here. At 8 kilometers, it almost feels like you're just using a high DPM cruiser at this point. There's not a lot of shells actually missing the target there. Absolutely wild. Though I don't know if that manual secondary targeting feature is required to be selected on the ship you're actually manually aiming at, or if it just needs to be selected on any ship that is spotted that your secondaries could fire at, and then the buff will start stacking up for you. There's a lot I don't know. The built-in accuracy improving when I'm using the manual secondaries mode, it feels like. I'm not sure about that either. It's very hard for me to know these things because these are all very hidden stats, and I can't really see that on third-party websites either. The in-game tools don't give us any information really at all on that sort of thing. So I'm not sure, unfortunately. But safe to say that these are very powerful secondaries that rival that of some tier 10 secondaries, now down at tier 8. 2.0 Sigma, pretty good into broadside cruisers, as we can tell. You can apply a lot of pressure with secondaries at close range, forcing enemies to turn away from you so that they get out of secondary range, or just feel like they have to try and take you out sooner by using their rear turrets. That's when the lower DPM on the main guns but higher accuracy can come into play. Don't need to use our main guns all the time when the secondaries deal this much damage so quickly. We're effectively a light cruiser here. You know, we could be close to a mines level DPM, depending on the target, of course, and how close they are. But you have light cruiser DPM pressure with battleship armor. And then, of course, 2.0 Sigma Bismarck guns that, if they go broadside, you're hoping to get some dev strikes or some citadels at the very least. Taking a few hits to our superstructure, not so bad in this case because it is a Hawk. It's not the most powerful guns on a battleship. We get a not so great salvo into him, but that's okay. We still have the secondaries that are just full penning him absolutely everywhere. I should talk to you a little bit about the firing angles here because the kited firing angles are very, very good. The pushing in angles are very bad. So 31 degrees kited, that you can fire all of your secondaries, and 54 degrees when you're pushing in. Though you do miss out on 2 guns, you still get a 31 degree forward firing angle, but you don't quite get all the secondary DPM. Interestingly, the regular Bismarck secondaries have 44 degree kited angles and 54 degree pushing angles. So they took regular Bismarck secondaries. One of their weaknesses is their firing angles, and kept the bow on one, but when you're kited, they just gave you all of them anyway. They gave the ship a lot, guys. It's clear that we are in a different era compared to when Bismarck was initially released. So I suppose this is what it would take for the German line to be reintroduced. If we saw the whole Bismarck and the rest of the line introduced as a new line today, they would get crazy manual secondaries that have wild accuracy and main guns that are much more accurate than their current versions as well, alongside maneuverability buffs like this engine boost, for example. I've talked about this in the past, especially pre-release of the Pan American battleship lines, where it feels like for random battles to promote secondary brawling, they have to give ships a lot to actually make that sort of playstyle work these days, given how passive the meta is and how good ships are at dealing with enemies pushing in. And we saw that with the Libertad line release, we saw that with the Valparaiso release. And I think we're also seeing that here with the Bismarck 41 release. Let me be very clear. I think this is absolute insane power creep for battleships and brawling, quote unquote. I don't even know if we can call it brawling anymore. 13.5 kilometers of range is not brawling. This is clearly mid-range at tier 8 to maybe even some longer range. I would call mid-range at tier 8, 10 kilometers. Long range is 15 kilometers. In my mind, my 2015 install of World of Warships brain says Atago barely has 15 kilometers of range. That has to be long enough at tier 8. And yet here, we're approaching that with just our secondaries, which should be a closer range brawling element. The downside of not having a hydro feels a lot less impactful when we have so much range on these secondaries. Yeah, the maneuverability buff is really nice out of the engine boost and maybe taking things like rudder mod instead of prop mod to avoid those torpedoes and avoid some of the incoming damage. But who needs the hydro if you don't need to get inside ranges where the torps are actually going to do much damage to you anyways? If I can sit at 13 kilometers away, the vast majority of tier 8 torps don't even reach me at that point. I can sit so far back that I'm just immune to those torpedoes because they're never going to get close enough to me. That feels backwards to me. That feels too powerful. That feels wrong. This ship is extremely powerful, and I don't know. I don't want to hype it up too much because then it's going to feel like FOMO where you got to get this ship. It is designated as a rare ship, not an uncommon ship, so we won't be seeing it return in the armory. That at least appears to be the MO for wargaming these days. Is if it's an uncommon ship, we probably see it back in the armory in the next 6 months to a year. If it's a rare ship or an epic ship, those ones seemingly just aren't coming back. And I hate to bring on that FOMO, but that's Wargaming's doing, and I really don't like that. At least this one is available for a direct purchase. $120 US, though, is an absolutely wild amount of money to spend on a ship, especially a tier 8 ship. In my opinion, you of course can do whatever you would like with your money, but I suppose the power creep and paying our way into stronger ships is seemingly alive and well here, because this, in my opinion, is the best brawling battleship at tier 8. This is better than my precious Massachusetts that I love so much, that has been removed from sale for so long because they thought it was too powerful all those years ago. This is just better. It's doing way more damage with those secondaries, and while it doesn't quite have the survivability characteristics of the fast cooldown heal, the maneuverability buff is wild, as well as the ability to play just further ranges and still use the secondaries. That alone is going to make you far more tanky than fast cooldown heal a single Hydro would do. It's crazy. I wonder if this would out-brawl a Schlieffen at this point. I didn't get many opportunities to play against tier 10s, but I got a feeling we'd do just fine into tier 10 thanks to the extra range. Now, there's a lot of cheese tactics you can do when it comes to manual secondaries. I hate to include this even, but this is an element of the frustration of playing against manual secondaries. I'm sure you've been in this situation where you're a destroyer or you're smoked up and that in a cruiser or DD farming and that, the manual secondary ship just opens up and is constantly hitting you. Not very often, but they're just kind of constantly hitting you. You can just blind fire forever, and there's no penalty with these secondaries. So we actually do take out that Jaeger with that blind fire. I almost hate to include that because I don't want to see more people doing that, but this is one of the issues potentially with these manual secondaries. And let's also take a look at this secondary test that I did. I did this with the Prinz Adalbert release as well. You may remember that. Notably, Prinz Adalbert bottom left there, Bismarck 41 top left. Basically the same time. There's fire RNG in that, but notice how the secondaries basically look as accurate. Look at the Bismarck normal in the top right. Way slower fire rate, and it feels like worse accuracy. And then, by the way, I just added Mines, which is a very powerful tier 8 cruiser, DPM cruiser. I only HE'd the Republic. I know AP Mines is very good, but look at the difference in times here. Bismarck is very slow. Understandably, secondary should be secondary. Bismarck 41 is feeling more like your main guns or your secondaries, and then we would move over to using the main guns only when we get the broadside opportunity with our 2.0 Sigma. Otherwise, we just play it as a very tanky light DPM cruiser, I guess? And I'm thinking we're going to play a lot like a light cruiser that is very tanky in a game like this one. Oh my goodness. I did not get Matchmaker like this while doing the initial recording. So, lots of airplanes, full up tier, open map. My team is leaving this flank. What do we do? Well, I'll tell you what we don't do. We don't do a full push in here. That is not what's going to happen. If this was a tier 8 situation, I would be charging for this island. Full engine boost on, everything going. But that's not what we're going to do because it is tier 10 with a lot of planes. We are very alone here. Our AA is very bad. We are going to be relying on our maneuverability to avoid a lot of the incoming damage here if the carrier is going to be going after us. Submarines are here too, so turning away, very understandable, I think, in this situation. We need to play patient. We need to play very patient in a situation like this. This is what you do, guys. You just run away from the subs. That's what you have to do. You just simply have to run away. He can outrange us with torps. He can outrange us with pings. Our range is 10 kilometers against a submarine. It's terrible game design, but there is nothing you or I can do about it other than run away. So maybe the ship is more balanced than I initially was giving it credit for. Let's be honest. No, this ship is crazy. This matchmaker is just unfortunate. Oh, hey, look. That is a Lutjens. Within secondary range, by the way. Oh, yeah, make sure you Make sure you're selecting manual secondaries. We need to get that buff rolling. But well within secondary range. Kind of wild. We gotta leave a little more. Come on. And sure, submarine is on us, pinging us, but we're far enough back that it's not that much of an issue, right? Kind of crazy. I should also be using my main guns, let's be honest. Let's be honest. I should be using those main guns. 2.0 Sigma, very, very nice. Aki is on us, sure. Le Havre is almost within secondary range, by the way. Pretty cool, pretty cool. When you get pinged, it's time to turn away. And he is within secondary range, indeed. Look at that. I mean, this is like the worst matchmaker you could possibly get in a Bismarck, and we're still getting secondaries on target. Ridiculous. Let's make sure we're doing this sort of thing as well. Yep, we definitely need to be looking for the Lutjen here. You know, turret traverse can be a problem with battleship guns, but what if you just have a ton of secondaries? Oh my. Speaking of good game design, the submarine just rammed the destroyer there. Not sure if I like that idea as far as how ships play. My aim is poor though with these secondaries on destroyers. I haven't been doing that as much of late. But we can keep firing long after he goes dark. Do you think I can get him? I mean, we got a fire there. That's pretty funny. Oh my goodness, and we dance around the ping. Oh wow, guys. We're making it work. We're making it work. Let's make sure we're getting those out. Let's make sure we are sending the main guns out as well. The secondaries can go on their own. We don't want them to necessarily. Can we swing around that one? We can. Maneuverability, amazing. Okay, we're on a fire. That's okay. Not a ton of damage in this one, of course, but that's okay. Get those front turrets going. We don't have the best forward firing angles. That's kind of a quirk of Bismarck. And actually, Le Havre is very fast. Still, 7K, pretty good. Let's lead a little bit more, maybe zoom out a bit. He's turning in now. There we go. Torps, sure. Double fire. We're not getting the fires ourselves, but that's all right. We're up to 40 now. Oh my goodness, someone smashed him. Our team is not doing so hot either in this one yet. There's the Lutjens buff. I was waiting for it. Give me my next heal. Now we go for the secondary some more. We should get him here. Not quite, but that's okay. So, 50K, 1.5 million potential damage. We're doing some rounding here. And we're alive. We're alive in the face of a sub. We helped to take out a DD. We helped to take out the cruiser. I mean, that's crazy. This is tier 8 open water map, the worst case scenario matchmaker for a brawling battleship. And yet we got 115 secondary hits. I promise you in a normal Bismarck, I'm not getting any secondary hits. And we're going down very, very quickly. Maybe we do a little bit with the Le Havre pushing that aggressively, but I don't know, man. This is the dreaded matchmaker experience when it comes to playing a ship like this one, a tier 8 secondary brawler. You've probably experienced it yourself in your normal Bismarck in that. It is not a good time. Now we're just trying to meet up with our team. We've been going in a straight line for quite a while now, so non-homing torps might be in for us. We shall see. So let's take a bit of time to maneuver here. Send some shots at the Monty. Indeed. Submarine. There we go. I'm glad we're meeting up with our teammates again. That's very important for our survivability. Let's also take a heal here. Get the hits on the submarine. Good. As always, just gotta run from them. Engine boost is up now. We gotta watch that we're not pushing into the other submarine on the other side, though. We're kind of getting caught in a bit of a crossfire here. It's a challenge. Let's try and get up to this island. Hey, I think that's a good idea. Z46. Other sub is in that choke point. That's good intel. I believe I am next for this Aki, so let's try and make it the worst drop angle we can. Here we go. How much do we eat here?
Ship is on fire.
5k and a fire. That's not amazing, but we can manage a little bit. Oh, Z46 in range. Let's get it going. I keep pushing 4. It's because I'm used to the Prinz Adalbert line. That's the problem here. So used to Prinz Adalbert having it on... Oh my goodness, what is that? On the 4 key. Get the manual buff. Come on. Get him. 500. 300. 100. Okay, they get him. It's good. Make sure we're on top of using our... Oh, nice. Nice. Okay, okay. Gaming a little bit here. Atlantico, I don't quite spot. I was hoping I would. That's okay. Yeah, there he is, but he's just out of range now. Maybe we can fight this Pommern? That would be a decent opportunity for us. No, Pommern's middle already. Maybe that's fine. Maybe that's fine. We can kind of cut back middle here. And actually, I can secondary him over this island. Manual secondaries allow you to just activate your secondaries, right? So... what if you just start shooting over islands that normally they wouldn't go after? Absolutely wild. Okay, Z46 is in the middle there. Now, oh, I hate to do this. It's so cringe, okay? But this is technically optimal playing. It's so gross. This is so... I feel so dirty. I'm gonna have to go take a shower after this. We're not getting hits, thankfully. But you just spray and pray, and you hope you get hits, basically. Montana. Make sure we turn away from that guy. That's very scary. Manual secondaries on him, and we're 13 kilometers away from a tier 10 battleship. Still getting our secondaries going. Still getting those secondaries going. Absolutely wild. We're gonna be up 2 million potential damage soon. Got the fire, and he goes down, just like that. Now, are they pushing in? That's the only way we're gonna... Oh, we did get the reset. No, no, don't let me hit this. No, this is so bad. I hate this. Okay, we avoid that salvo. Good. Avoid that ping. All right, there he is. He has been found. Oh boy. Here comes the Audacious. Yeah, more planes. More good, more good. Love it. Let's make sure we're aiming. May as well use our last heal, because we're going to eat a lot here. Yep. Yep, yep, yep. Planes are fun. Planes are very fun. May as well send a normal salvo in and then go back to the secondaries. Should have the full buff now, so they should be reasonably accurate. Yeah, we definitely need to be going after you. Come on. I keep hitting 4. I keep hitting 4, guys. It's a big problem. He's broadside. Let's send the AP. We also got to avoid the submarine torps. Oh, the Z gets us. Nice torps, man. So, we get him back, though. Oh, my goodness. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. 2.6 million potential damage, 100k into what is the worst possible outcome for a tier 8 brawling battleship. Full up tier, tier 10 carrier, double sub game, open water map. I mean, we didn't do too bad there. And this is the worst case scenario for a ship like this one. Imagine game modes where it's 1v1s, 3v3s, ranked modes that are, what, 5v5, 7v7. It's going to be an absolute monster in that. And into normal tier 8 randoms, of course, it is as well. I think that's a big part for me. It's just you don't have to be close to use the close range armament in your secondaries, right? Like, it feels so strange. Yeah, solid team. It feels very strange that we have a close range armament like this, and we don't have to be very close to use it. I mean, think about Tirpitz needing to get within 6 kilometers to use its torpedoes, right? This ship, 13 and a half, brother. I mean, imagine we get a fresh look at a premium Tirpitz and it's got like Holland torps or gearing torps on a battleship. Not that we've seen that in Thor for something, but right, like battleships with torps have been powercraft, right? Like Thor has almost gearing level torpedo power on it. This is like light cruiser level DPM on a battleship here. With the same range, honestly. I don't know what the accuracy is when you're using the manual secondaries here. It unfortunately does not say. But this will be your DPM, the reloads, with your manual secondaries activated. It's not showing you that it has worse reload without that active. All it says is provide better performance. And it doesn't tell you what outside of the range difference, which feels weird, but that's just classic wargaming and communication, right? So just know you do need to be using the manual secondaries. You can't just let these go. And the both sides thing, well, somewhat useful here. It's not as good as using it on, say, this German battlecruiser line, for example, because we do have much higher DPM and maybe better accuracy. It sure feels like better accuracy when we're using the manual secondaries. Of course, for the build, just go secondaries. Not worth going main guns. Even with 2.0 Sigma, it's still Bismarck guns. They're not actually that good. Here we go. Steering gears because of engine boost, allowing us to have the propulsion needed to get out of bad situations. For the most part, I mean, an 85-second cooldown is crazy with a 234-second action time when we are using this build. Here is the rest of it as well, just going full secondaries, getting that extra heal, as well as the fire prevention. Normally, I would debate concealment or the heal. Like, we don't have a fast cooldown heal, so we're probably not getting to that 5th heal anyway. So getting concealment allows us to get closer, so we're more likely to get into secondary range before we get spotted or something like that. But we have 13.5 kilometer secondary range. 14.3 conceal is very close to 13.5. You know, we don't need to take the conceal. It's crazy. I don't think this ship needed the range buff. I don't think it needed the DP. It could have just been a bog standard Bismarck with manual secondaries, and it would have been great. Even the ability to aim for weak points, the ability to aim superstructure when everybody else's secondaries target here, waterline, center mass. This is where your secondaries target. The only reason you get any damage at medium and close ranges is because the accuracy is so bad, it'll sometimes hit up into superstructures. But the ability to target it in the weak points of an enemy ship is extremely powerful in and of itself. So kind of weird. Very powerful ship, as you can tell. That is my opinion. This is a crazy powerful ship at tier 8. It could have been this at tier 9, and I still think it would have been one of, if not the best secondary brawler at tier 9 even. Wild. Absolutely wild. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'll be playing this one some more. I've really only played like 4 battles in it so far. You've basically seen all the games that I've played in it. I gotta play with it some more, but wow, what a start that this ship has in the game. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.